135 transactions a year as a solo realtor, that's a ton of deals. So
It was.
okay. Now, aside from crazy work hours and keeping on going, what's the difference between a top performer like yourself and mediocrity? Is it work ethic? Is it what is it? What is it that really is a difference? Now, 135 is an extreme. So if we look at the bell curve, as a solopreneur or as a solo realtor, you're kind of at the, you're to the far right on a bell curve. How do you look at the middle of the bell curve and say, what is it that gets in people's way of having, let's say, performance where they're selling 80 deals a year, which is still a home run by most realtors?
To sell 25, 30 homes a year, you're still in the top 90, like the top 5% of agents that do 30 homes a year, right? Yeah. I think one thing is drive, and I know that's not what you want to hear, but I think, and you can't really teach drive. I've learned that just from coaching people, is like you have to have the drive. I'll kind of give you a background on how I came up with this whole marketing way, right? And this can relate to any agent or flipper out there. And I'll tell you what, I think investors and flippers are really missing the mark, because I don't see any of them in my local area. I never see any investors or flippers talking about investors. I have some students that are doing it that are investors, and it's completely changed their business, and the fact that realtors are going to them for deals because they know they're the go-to person, right? I know a lot of people that are investors and realtors, they're afraid, oh, people are going to be afraid to come to me because I'm a realtor. That's not the case if you are positioning yourself correctly. So when the market switched back in 2008, I was a foreclosure agent, and I sold foreclosures for 5 or 6 years. Like, I'd go to my computer and I worked for 13 different asset management companies. I had Green River Capital, Wachovia, Wells Fargo, and then they became Wells Fargo and Wachovia together. I had the HUD account, Freddie Mac account, and I sold foreclosures. And it was easy for a long time, right? Once I got the foreclosures, and then the market got better. And I remember going on a listing appointment, and I called to see, if they were going to hire me, and they said, Krista, we really liked you, but the last guy we interviewed called you the foreclosure queen. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I am a foreclosure queen. Nobody knows me. I haven't marketed myself at all. So for the past 5, 6 years, I just would show up to my desk. I'd have assets that were given to me. My best year in real estate, I sold 169 homes, again, as a single licensed agent. It was just me. With an assistant and a transaction coordinator. And when the market got better, all of a sudden I went from 100 plus homes down to like 12 because everything dried up. And so I remember thinking, okay, how am I going to do this? How am I going to turn this around? Because nobody knows me. So it was like I was starting from scratch. And so I made the decision, I am going to start marketing myself in these two communities. So at that time, they didn't have video or social media or Facebook. So I just started creating flyers, and I started creating, postcards that I would start sending to the mailboxes. And I made sure that like every 10 days, every 2 weeks, I would show up in their mailbox with the postcard about what was happening in the community. I'd talk about like things to do, whether it be like, here's the school schedule, here's the football schedule. We had the A's and the 49ers and all these different, I do the schedules for that. I would talk about, just listed things. I would show actives, pendings, and solds. I would kind of give a little mini market report on the postcards. And then before you knew it, I was up selling over 100 years again within 12 months. And then once video came, I put a digital twist to it, and I started creating videos about the local market, the local neighborhoods. And then I would run ads behind those videos on Facebook so that I would be showing up in people's news feeds, and they'd see me over and over again. And before you knew it, because I became it was almost like I became a local celebrity. And people they'll tell me, I see your commercials, and it wasn't like they saw my commercials. They would see my content online where they were showing up. And that's how I went back from being a foreclosure agent back to being a traditional agent. And that's what I teach my students to do. And you don't have to have any listings to do that. You can just, like you said earlier, like this is Brentwood. You can just start talking about everything that's going on in the community, from businesses to things to do, to restaurants, to, the best dog parks in town, to prolific, controversial things and just start doing it as consistently as possible. Try to be entertaining, try to be educational, add a lot of value. Don't just make it about you. And it's amazing, how quickly your business can change.
I think that's the biggest challenge for many that are just starting out in that space is not making it about them. And they're incredibly nervous or shy, or they are afraid of judgment or what their peers might say if they do a video. And I'm sure that you're having to push sometimes hard in your client base to just go do it. Keep producing content. Just keep doing it. You'll get better at it. Is that the case for you as well? You see where people get really nervous about the judgment that they feel comes with it. They're busy thinking about what people will think about them as opposed to delivering content and being of service to others. What's your kind of philosophy with your clients around that?
1000%. And here's the deal. If you take 100 people, there's going to be one or two that are naturally comfortable doing video. Most of us, including me, we're worried about what people are going to think about us. Are we going to make a mistake? We don't know what to say. People are going to judge us. And here's the deal. People are going to. So let
Yep.
them, your coworkers are going to judge you, whether you do or don't. Your
Yep.
community is going to judge you. Your family and friends, they're going to judge you anyway. So let them judge you about the right thing. And here's what happens, like inevitably, when a newer agent or somebody starts to do this. Yes, at first people are like, why are they doing that? Oh my gosh, what are they talking about? Who do they think they are? And then in a few months, 4, 5, 6 months, 12 months go by, and they're like, oh my gosh, what are they doing? How can I do that? Like, I mean, oh my gosh, I wish I would have started that. Like, can you tell me what you're doing? It totally changes so quickly because they see there's nothing, they said that there's that saying, like a picture says 1,000 words. Well, a video says millions of words. And you capture so much from speaking to somebody or somebody doing a video in regards to just a picture. And research even shows that the more that somebody sees you, the more often they see you, the more they grow to like you. So somebody at first might be annoyed by you, you might bother them, but research shows that the more that people start to see you, the more they start to gravitate towards you, the more that judgment turns from judgment into like, oh, let me see what they're talking about because I keep seeing them. You kind of start to wear on people, so to speak, in a positive way.